May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Hey. It's Friday. I'm Scott Robertson, and you are tuned in to May the Best Brand Win, powered by Intertalk Radio, the leader in music biz talk. And with me, as always, is Florentino Buenaventura, host of The Changing Stage and a certified internet rock star. How's it going, Florentino?
It's good. I want to know that organization that certified me, though. I should be certified for other areas.
Certified body inspector, or was it? Yeah,
I remember that. Those T-shirts. That's funny.
That's right, exactly.
It's kind of like the branding thing that you're going to be talking about here in a very few seconds.
It is, exactly. So today we are going to be talking about branding. It's one of my favorite topics. It's certainly one of the most misunderstood terms in all of marketing. A lot of people get it wrong. I see a lot of articles written about branding, and they say this is branding, and you know, basically I kind of shake my head and I'm like, no, it's not. That's not what branding is at all. So it's really important, before, there's a lot of information, conflicting information out there about branding. It's really important to kind of trace it back to its origin. So that's really what I want to do here in the first segment, is talk a little bit about kind of branding, where it came from, what is it really, why do so many people get it wrong? And then throughout the show today, we're going to talk about some brand hits, some brand misses. We're going to talk about, and then the last segment, we're going to come back with, branding the right way for your band or your brand or your business. So branding, you have to trace it back to a little company called Procter & Gamble. And Procter & Gamble, they basically invented branding. And everything, in terms of a modern brand strategy, really originated from that company. And they were the first ones to really, use the term. And in fact, what's funny about it is when they first, like a lot of things, like a lot of new ideas, when they first started talking about branding, they were really laughed out of the room for the hypothesis that they put forward. They thought they could do. And really, what that hypothesis was is they said that they could get people, to it's built around a concept of what's called emotional transference. Like I said, if you do marketing at a pretty deep level, you're going to dig into human psychology before you know it. So on this show and just about all the approaches that I take, I typically dig into a lot of things that have a psychological background in them. So what the hypothesis that Procter & Gamble put out there was, and they believed that they could take the consumer. The consumer has all these positive feelings about different relationships, about themselves, about all these, the swirl of emotions that are going on inside the consumer. And they believe that they could transfer those to soap. And when they first came out and said they could do this, no one believed it was even possible. They said, you can't feel anything about soap. Soap just gets you clean. Soap is it's just something that you use, you have soap. It's functional. It just gets you clean. There's no way that you could possibly feel something for soap. Could you? Do you think you could? Well, billions of dollars later, obviously, when you walk, I encourage you to go to the grocery store or go to Walmart and look at all the products that the brands that Procter & Gamble has put into our lives, Tide and Cheer and Cascade and Pringles and, all kinds of, crazy stuff. Pringles isn't one, sorry. They do soaps. So anyway, I just wanted to start off by basically talking about where the origins of branding was. And this emotional transference thing becomes really, really important because the battle for branding always takes place in the consumer's mind. And again, that's a really, really important thing, to consider on your marketing approach. That's the battleground. That's the space that you want to occupy. And to get there, you have to use emotion, not reason, to do it. There's a powerful quote from Dale Carnegie, and he said, when dealing with people, let us remember that we are not dealing with creatures of logic. We are dealing with creatures of emotion. And this is real. The marketing profession has been kind of moving down this continuum for a while. Even in the early 90s, I remember sitting in seminars and they said, well, business to business marketing is very different than business to consumer marketing. But really marketing's kind of gotten smarter, over the past years in particular, usually just by paying attention to neuroscience. And what we find out is that really what most people know, which is that human beings are really driven by emotion first and foremost. Anything that looks like logic is probably just after the fact sort of rationalization. We make decisions emotionally, we rationalize them logically. Therefore, emotional branding is going to affect people at a hidden subconscious level. And that's what makes it so incredibly powerful. So let's talk about emotions for a second. There are actually more than 50 documented actual emotions. You can have them all at once. Go ahead, try it at home. No, I'm just kidding. So the big 7 emotions are love, and that includes self-love and ego, fear, or the avoidance of fear, grief, or the avoidance of grief, anger, or the avoidance of that, anxiety, also the avoidance of, surprise, and trust. Those are sort of your big buckets. And usually a brand kind of centers in on one of these and really tries to evoke it. So we're going to talk, in this whole show, we're going to talk, a lot more about, about emotions. But, in fact, we're going to talk about, companies who are doing it best, some of the big guys, some of the folks, close to home in the music industry, some of the bands out there that are doing it. And really, this is also going to be a theme that's going to carry throughout the show, because, a conversation about branding is never really over. I mean, there's always, new stuff coming out and people trying new approaches. Where it kind of hit home for me, when I was working for the National Association of Music Merchants, it really kind of hit home for me as we were kind of struggling with what the brand for the association should be. And I remember seeing an ad in Entertainment Weekly magazine that was from the Recreational Boating and Fishing Foundation. And I'll just describe it to you because we're here on the radio, of course. And it basically has a little girl looking at you in the camera, and it's a very powerful image, and it's for their Take Me Fishing campaign. And it basically says, the copy says, take me fishing, show me that the worms aren't really that icky. Take me fishing, you can think about work later. Take me fishing because I get the giggles when the boat, when the boat bounces. Take me, and then the last line says, take me fishing because my wedding will be sooner than you think. And she's looking right at you. I mean, boom, right? If you have a daughter, you just got goosebumps, because that phrase is extremely powerful, right? I mean, I was pulling up the Yellow Pages and looking up boat dealers, and I was like, oh my God, I got to get a boat. And I had no idea why. And then it hit me. The emotion that they were able to evoke in me was already there. This is one of the most common and most misunderstood things about branding. The people that you're trying to reach, because a lot of people say, well, we're going to, it's hard to make somebody feel something, or it's hard to, it's not marketing, not mind control, those kind of things. Correct. But what you want to do is you want to identify, what emotions are already present in your target audience. And then you want to find some way that you can help kind of evoke them. The customer, in a perfect branding scenario, the customer really does all the work. Let's think about our Take Me Fishing example. Why did it affect me so much? Well, it affected me so much because I have a daughter. Because I have a daughter, and because it hit me right square in the heart. The idea of guilt. It was of guilt. As parents, we walk around and we carry a tremendous amount of this stuff with us, and they were able to use it in a very powerful way. Not really, definitely not an approach that you would kind of expect from an association. And I used that approach. I never lost that. I always carry that with me. I still use it to this day. It was a powerful epiphany for me, because I was able to learn what I was going to do with the with NAM's brand. from that moment. I realized that was what we wanted to get to. We wanted to get to something where we were no longer just talking about music products and that kind of thing, and talking about really allowing that emotion to be set free. So, a couple of other things. We've got just a short period of time in this last segment, so I just want to get a couple of definitions things down. Things that are commonly confused about branding is your logo by itself is not your brand. People say, oh, well, that, they'll look at the logo and go, well, that's the brand. No, because again, what are we talking about? Emotions. Your mission statement by itself is not the brand. Your tagline by itself is not the brand. Your positioning in the market, still not the brand. All of your marketing together, not the brand. And also your behavior, how the company behaves, is also not the brand by itself. So I'm going to do some math here for you. So B equals L plus T, L plus T plus P plus E plus C plus R plus B. In other words, all of those things I said, the logo, the tagline, positioning, experiences, the customer relationship, behavior, your brand is everything. It is literally everything, but pushes together in the same direction to create an emotional response and to help somebody feel something for something that they probably wouldn't normally feel something for. In the second segment, we're going to talk about some of the companies that are really doing it better than everybody else, and and that's going to be pretty exciting. It's very important to understand that your brand experience takes place inside your customer or your prospect's heart and mind, and they really own your brand. And I meet with a lot of companies today that still don't quite always understand that. But I'm looking forward to segment 2. We're going to talk about some of the people who are doing it right out there. Again, I'm Scott Robertson, and you're tuned to May the Best Brand Win.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Thank you for listening to WS Radio. Improve your business and your life with useful information from experts and thought leaders. WS Radio is radio with ROI.
The richness of your life is reflected in the shimmering elegance found at Diolune Design. One-of-a-kind jewelry and pieces from Cynthia Dillon in silver and gold help to express your unique personality. The flowing designs of her creations will empower the way you move throughout your day. Join us online at DIOLUNdesigns.com.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit moesguitars.com or their Facebook page. mozeguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
In the military, things can change in an instant. At Navy Mutual Aid Association, we understand because it's our life too. That's why our dedication to serving the life insurance needs of our military veterans and their families is unrivaled. Navy Mutual offers superior life insurance protection without military service restrictions and limitations. A single focus on providing the peace of mind military families are looking for. That's what we do. Navy Mutual, insuring those who serve. Call 800-628-6011 or go to NavyMutual.org.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, CEO and founder of VinVillage.com and the Wine and Dine Show on Vin Village Radio. Do you have a wine, event, product, or service to promote? Then contact VinVillage.com to reach thousands of wine lovers across the country. VinVillage connects like-minded wine enthusiasts with unique and exclusive wines, events, products, and services. To learn more, contact us on vinvillage.com. VinVillage is where wine lovers connect. Hi, this is Rob Barnett, vinvillage.com, where wine lovers connect. Be sure to tune in weekly to VinVillage Radio for exclusive, in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Hey. We are back, and it is segment 2 of episode 2, which I like to call it the sequel. It followed up episode 1, which broke all box office records, clearly. We are talking about branding today, which is one of the most misunderstood terms in the marketing lexicon. With me, as always, by the way, is Florentino Buenaventura. You still out there, Florentino?
Oh, yeah, sure am.
He's pushing the buttons and making the magic happen. And we're here, again, it's May Best Brand Win. It's powered by Intertalk Radio, which is the leader in music biz talk. And we're talking about branding. Again, one of the most misunderstood terms in marketing. In our first segment, we talked kind of about the origins of it. We talked about emotions, like I said, which is you need to talk about that pretty quickly when you talk about branding. So with all of that in mind, let's talk about some of the brand hits out there, folks that really do it well. And I think when you talk about branding, there's so many great names that come to mind. Obviously, all the Procter and Gamble consumer products and the soaps and things that they really invented it and did it better than anyone else for a good long time. But I would have to say that when most marketing people are asked, who does some of the best branding and the most consistent branding, it's definitely Apple. Apple they're just better than everybody else. I mean, everybody else has money that they have some similar products, but no one really seems to be able to do what Apple does with its marketing. They are just that good, but let's talk about why they're that good. A common mistake that I see technology companies make is they're really excited to talk about all of their products' features, kind of what we in the tech PR business call speeds and feeds affectionately. It goes this fast. It has this many, gigawatts per second. It does all these amazing things. And that comes from sort of an engineering mindset where you just want to say, hey, this does stuff that nothing's ever been able to do before. And I just want to tell you, I want to share with you all the exhaustive detail about how it does it. And plenty of technology companies do that. They talk about their features kind of first. Apple does not, as you will probably notice. Really what they do in their marketing is much easier. Much easier on the surface, but actually a lot harder because it's more conceptual. They really just show how their products allow people to do amazing things. They really make people in their sort of tribe out there feel something and connect with the brand at an extremely deep and passionate level. And they're able to deliver a brand experience, pretty much like no one else. Some of the best companies out there, they kind of share those three things in common. They really just kind of lean into what people are already thinking about their products and kind of, they kind of help people kind of complete a mental picture that they already have of themselves. They make people feel something and really connect with the brand at that level. And again, they deliver that experience. So, one of the things that I really like about Apple's branding is the fact that they're able to not talk about their features. They when their latest phone kind of came out, they actually got a lot of flack. They said, "Well, show how it's different. Show how it's different." And they even managed to do that in a pretty compelling and interesting way in some of their advertising and marketing. And their tagline. I mean, let's look at their tagline for a second. Their tagline currently is "You're more powerful than you think." Right? 2 personal pronouns in the tagline. You. Because they understand something. And what is that? And that is that people are fundamentally very interested in themselves. Again, as I mentioned in the last show, we were talking about social media. There's an entire realm of photography called selfies, where people take pictures of themselves and other people comment about pictures that they've taken of themselves. That doesn't happen to organisms on this planet that are not completely consumed with themselves. So, and this can upset some people because, the truth hurts. But the bottom line is that our human nature, the thing that allows us to survive, the thing that has allowed us to survive since the beginning of time, makes us kind of predisposed to be more concerned with ourselves than anyone else around us, right? There are other animals, by the way, that also share that. But it's important as a marketer that you really can kind of cut through the, some of the BS, because that's a powerful statement that I just made, and some people are really uncomfortable with it. And they say, oh, well, some people are very, very selfless. Okay. But as a marketer, what you need to understand is the thing that you're trying to do is you're trying to understand them, and you're trying to get them to sort of feel something about your product and your brand, right? So what you need to have a fundamental understanding that they're really interested in themselves. We all are. We all have these mental pictures of ourselves, as I've talked about in the social media episode, where we kind of want to, sometimes some people think of themselves as funny, and so they do things that complete that picture. Some people think of themselves as charitable, so they do things that complete that picture. For Apple, they understand that people think that they're powerful, and they say, you're more powerful than you think. Right? That's a powerful tagline when you really analyze it and really think about it, because what they're saying is, and what they're subtly saying is, you're great, you're powerful, but if you have our stuff, oh my God, imagine what you can do. And that's the experience that drives people to pay a bunch of money for these phones. That's why they're most powerful smartphone, company, most powerful technology company on the planet, is because they help people kind of lean into that perception that they already have of themselves in a way that no other company does. Samsung has great phones, and they talk about their features, and they talk about and they have some clever things as well, but they fall short of Apple because they're not able to get inside your head. Maybe they're not willing to, but Apple does it really well. So let's talk about some others. I would say in the music, closer to home in the music industry, Ernie Ball is a great company. They do a fantastic job. That's a company that really knows where they came from, who they are, who they serve, what they're trying to do. And you ever notice you play with musicians and they affiliate with certain brands. Oh, I'm a Fender guy. I'm a Gibson guy. I only play these pedals. I only play a Yamaha PA. We have that, and especially on our guitar players. I only play Marshall. I'm only going to play this Fender and this Marshall and that kind of thing. Sonically speaking, I can show you, we can look at modeling things and show you that the human ear really isn't able to discern, all that much from, especially when you get similar tones and similar guitars. But there are hundreds of different guitar companies, hundreds of different amp companies. And really that has to do with an individual guitar player's preference. And the brands just sort of, they find ways to kind of lean into what the particular guitar player kind of believes about themselves and makes that about them, and guitar players like to have, a very kind of, differentiated kind of sound and tone from each other. I would urge you to check out Ernie Ball's website and check out their stuff and just kind of look at it from a branding perspective, because it's a company that is really about players, is really about the playing experience, and it really comes all the way from the top. If you meet Sterling Ball and Brian Ball, they come from a tradition of playing music, together and playing music for their entire lives. So it really a lot of their things really focus around being a player. Just another company that makes strings that I'm a big fan of is DR Strings. It's not the biggest string company in the world. I like the fact that they pay attention to the aesthetics of the strings. They offer some really cool, neon, glow in the dark kind of strings. And that could be kind of cool. You play in a little cover band, you want something a little flashier. You want a good sounding string, of course, and it's a handmade string. It's good. but they kind of play to some of the theatrics, and some of your more theatrical players that also like good quality tend to gravitate towards DR strings. Another really good one that I like what is Mackie. I think and Mackie's gone through some different ownership, so it's it's always kind of hard to comment. But some of the user manuals and things that they wrote back in the especially in the late 80s were just masterpieces, because you've never seen communications coming from a company that really had an edge like Mackie had. One of the funniest things they ever did was those power supplies that stick in the wall. They started calling those wall warts, and they said, we're not going to do that to you. We're going to put a grounded plug in all of our stuff, so you don't have all these wall warts sticking in your power strips and stuff. And it made musicians kind of laugh, and they had a bunch of little inside jokes like that were true. And like I said, Mackie's kind of had some ups and downs over the years. But if you're going to feel something about a mixer, I can honestly say that certainly during those days, I felt something about that mixer, and I gravitated towards it. I was like, oh yeah, and they've got this cool, form factor. When their 16 channel mixers came out, and they were smaller, and they were a little more techy, and that kind of thing for those days. And again, the name of the game is to get the customer, feeling something different about your brand. So when you line up a bunch of different products that are similar, it's not even a conversation. They're really just looking at yours and saying, well, that's the one I want, because that's the one that is the most me. You hear people kind of say that sometimes. You hear musicians say that all the time. Well, I play this brand of musical instrument because it's the most like me. That's when you know that the branding has really taken a foothold there. So, all right. So we've gone through the brand hits. Segment 3, we're going to do some brand misses. You are tuned to May the Best Brand Win, powered by Intertalk Radio, the leader in music biz talk. See you soon.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com.
Has your business been appified? Are you tired of doing marketing that doesn't deliver results? Mobile apps build loyalty and quality retention. Your app from UPG Mobile puts your business on their mind and at their fingertips. UPG Mobile will give you a custom app highlighting how you are unique, targeting your message, and improving your open rates. Appify your business and amplify your presence with your customers at upgmobilemarketinggroup.com.
One person has the power to change the world, impact millions of lives, and leave a legacy for lifetimes to come. That person is you. In the New York Times bestseller, What is Your What?, Steve Olsher, award-winning author and founder of the Reinvention Workshop, reveals his proven process that has helped thousands of men and women discover, share, and monetize the one thing they were born to do. Grab your free copy now at www.whatisyourwhat.com/free. That's www.whatisyourwhat.com/free.
Take a break from politics. Tune in and learn something. WS Radio shows are worth your time and are filled with tips and advice. Add us to your lunch routine, and we'll give you a meal for your mind.
This is Bill Gruber with BizVid Communications, a Southern California video production leader. We've been honored to sponsor, produce, write, and host many of the fine programs on WS Radio over the years. So we understand how important the internet and your website exposure are. As video producers, we know the tricks and secrets to incorporate video to increase your search engine optimization and business success. Visit bizvidcommunications.com to see what we can do for you. BIZVID communications.com.
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Hey, all right. It's Scott Robertson, and you are tuned to May the Best Brand Win, powered by Intertalk Radio, the leader in music biz talk. And with me, as always, is Florentino Buenaventura, host of The Changing Stage. And I believe we have a call. Oh, my goodness.
You do? You got a caller calling in.
Oh, my goodness. Is it my mom? Is it mom?
He could be your mom if you want him to be, if you have enough money. Now, that's some branding right there, right?
Exactly. Well, hey, why not? Who do we got?
We got Jackie Bertoni on the line. Say hello.
Hey, Jackie.
You there?
What's up, gentlemen? Can you hear me good?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm driving. I want to welcome you, Scott, to Intertalk Radio, and the industry does not know what's going to hit them with this new brand of radio, for the lack of a better word. I want to welcome you. It was nice, great meeting you at the launch at NAMM.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I wanted to personally welcome you aboard to one of these, the beginning of what's going to be known as the industry leader, I believe.
Fantastic. Well, I like that. I'm happy to be aboard, and I always enjoy your show as well. And you always have such interesting folks that are out there, just sharing anecdotes and dishing out there. It's good stuff.
That's what it's all about. And you got to your right or your left, Mr. Florentino Buenaventura, man. He's out there shoveling the coal, keeping the ship afloat. So you're in good company, by all means. I just wanted to welcome you with open arms, and I'll definitely post this on social media so get your listening audience going crazy.
Awesome. Wow. Thanks very much, Jackie. I really appreciate it.
All right. Knock 'em dead, brother boy.
Take care, brother.
All right. Take it easy.
Be well. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, cool. Well, awesome. So we are here in good old segment 3. We talked about kind of the origin story of branding a bit. And we talked about emotions, and we talked about some of the brand hits out there in the music industry. Let's talk about some brand misses that are happening out there. There's so many of these. We could just fill an entire show with brand misses, but and I'll explain to kind of there's huge faux pas and stuff that you can point out for large national companies, but I always try to kind of bring it back to the music industry and folks that I serve as well. So let's kind of start big. One really interesting one was McDonald's. I mean, it doesn't get too much bigger than McDonald's, obviously, and just a little while back they decided to replace their Hamburglar character with a live action guy, like instead of a cartoon character, it was just going to be this guy. And it was a huge branding mistake because you have this great nostalgic icon, and they really kind of changed it into this sort of creepy villain type of character that really was just this dude. Hamburglar does not transfer well in real life, right? He's a strange looking kind of Alfred E. Newman looking guy with who's the guy on Mad Magazine, by the way, and with a black mask on, like a Zorro hat, and he's wearing an old time prison outfit with the stripes and a cape and a tie and red gloves. So try to envision that like in real life, and that's not an image that of a well-adjusted human being, and that's not an image that you want to that you want to see. And if you are McDonald's and you're trying to get appeal to kids and their parents and that sort of thing, that's definitely not the image that you want to see. And that's a huge one. And they spent millions, on doing something like that. And you just wonder how these things kind of happen, right? In my experience, they happen because people don't speak up. There's plenty of people that, it's a risk to speak up, particularly if it's, your boss's great idea and those kind of things. One thing that my clients know about me is that I will speak up. I don't care if it's you, if it's the CEO, if it's the CEO's daughter, if it's the CEO's, I'm blessed with the ability of just not caring. And, I am much more about, interrupting bad ideas like that, because that's my job. And I feel like, giving that up, and I try to save my clients from making big branding mistakes. And when I see something, sometimes it's just an opinion, maybe you're like, I don't think that's going to go over that well. And at least I think you owe your client your honest opinion. And when you hold back your honest opinion, you have to kind of wonder, what it is that what you're doing there and what it's worth. So that's a big one for McDonald's, obviously. Let's talk about one in the music industry. Yamaha. Yamaha is an interesting company. They're the biggest supplier in the music products industry. Obviously, a huge company when it comes to motorsports and all different aspects of their business. But they launched at the NAMM show under a new corporate slogan, sharing passion and performance. And they launched more than 100 new products. And I saw what they were doing. It's a tricky thing when you have to put so many different things, under one flag, right? If you have 100 new products and there's guitars and basses and I mean, they make literally everything. So it's like, how do you make literally everything and find a message that's really going to appeal to everyone? Believe me, I certainly can sympathize with the challenge, but a slogan that says sharing passion and performance does nothing for me. It does literally nothing for me. And I'm a musician, it's not personal. It doesn't say the word. Remember we talked about Apple using the word you? See, I like the word you because I'm self-centered like all human beings, and I'm really into me, and I really want to know what I'm going to do next and that kind of thing. And I want it to all be about me. If we're really being honest, and I'm a big fan of just being honest. That's really what we're all thinking anyway. So, it makes a lot of sense for our marketing to really, have those personal pronouns in there. Really think through what that's going to be. Sharing passion and performance. That's what I like to call the appearance of marketing. Like it's words that, you have 2 P words. You have these kind of things. I mean, it's certainly words. It's an English sentence that makes sense. However, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't make you feel anything. It doesn't, and then you have to ask yourself the question, if it doesn't do anything and if it doesn't make you feel anything, then is it worth anything? That's your branding question right there, right? I see so many people that make mistakes because they just kind of explain what they do. And we talked about it, right? We talked about Samsung. You don't want to be Samsung. Samsung doesn't know how to talk to you. They don't know how to make it about you. And I could show you many examples of that, especially when you compare and contrast them with their nearest leading competitor, who has a black belt in being able to make you think great things about you. So anyway, that's Yamaha. And that's sort of, a brand miss that we see out there. And again, the reason that I think a miss is it's just not personal. It just doesn't dig. It doesn't dig deep enough. And that's one thing that I definitely want to encourage everyone to think through. I do a branding workshop with my clients where I really push them to dig deep. When you start having a conversation about anybody can start to have a conversation and say, we do X, we do Y. Even with the band, bands can do this too. Bands can say, obviously this is our genre of music. We play power punk and we, hate the establishment and our fans, are these kind of people. And you can kind of lay that stuff out. But with the band, and usually it's a little more organic than that. A band has a personality. A band has a personality just like a person could have a personality. and that is its brand, and like bands like Blink 182. I mean, when I say Blink 182, the personality that I'm talking about, and it probably has a curse word in it, by the way. That's how they do it. Green Day, same kind of thing, right? That it's going to be Billy Joe's personality, and it's going to be pretty irreverent, honestly. I went to see American Idiot at the Segerstrom Center here in Orange County, and there's a bunch of people, like well-dressed people, sitting in the theater. And American Idiot starts out with its hard rock, that thing just takes off, right? And then they use the F word about 50 times in the first, in the first like 5 minutes of the musical. And like a bunch of people got up and left. And I said, well, it's Green Day. I was kind of laughing, to my wife, and I was like, it's Green Day. What would you expect to see here? That kind of thing. Apparently they didn't know who Green Day was. But anyway, I think that's, like I said, bands can have a brand. My band, 5 South, we brand ourselves as Orange County's most wildly immature over 40 cover band. And what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. It just means that we play a lot of music that's, probably not age appropriate. We play a lot of stuff off K-Rock, and we play a lot of stuff and we play it pretty well, and we just have fun. We're a very irreverent group of guys that get together and play music, and we never quite know what we're going to do. And that's what people kind of dig about seeing our band too. We're a little bit different because we kind of we know who we are, and the band is able to kind of market itself that way. And plus the tagline just makes people kind of snicker. It doesn't really say anything. It really just which is kind of the point when you think about it, and when it comes to the band. So there's a lot of brand hits out there. There's a lot of brand misses. Usually when brands miss, they don't really, they kind of lack the courage to go deep enough and really start talking about emotions. Yamaha, for example, they could do better. There are people that feel a lot of emotional things about that company, and we would all like to see that. They are the biggest supplier in the industry, I'm sure. Hey, so you are tuned to May the Best Brand Win, powered by Intertalk Radio, the leader on music biz talk. Segment 4, we're going to talk about branding the right way for your band, your brand, or your business. Come on back. Thanks.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com.
Attention business owners. Does it feel like your business owns you? See if you qualify for a free 90-minute business coaching session to help you build a business, not a job. During this free 90-minute strategic consultation, one of our senior coaches will help you map out the best way to grow your company and get your life back. To learn more, go to MauiMasterminds.com/scale now. That's MauiMasterminds.com/scale now.
I raised $8,000 to build schools for South African children. After realizing how many people go hungry in San Diego, I now volunteer at a food pantry.
I'm spending the next year doing volunteer projects across 3 countries and helping in ways they designate to be the most helpful.
The World Link program at the Joan B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice recognizes the potential of youth as agents of social change. Learn how you can help youth become a generation of leaders in action at peace.sandiego.edu.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit mozeguitars.com or their Facebook page. mozeguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
Which sandwich is healthy and tasty? Which sandwich can come on bread or in a bowl? Which sandwich comes 51 different ways, so it's always your way? A which sandwich. Stop into our shop in Hazard Center. We're upstairs from the Hazard Center Digiplex. Bring in your movie ticket. We will add a free drink and chips to your sandwich order. Or order online at whichwich.com and we will have it ready and waiting. WHICH, WICH. Whichwich.com. May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
All right. It is Friday afternoon. For my money, the best time to be doing a radio show. And I'm Scott Robertson, and you are tuned into May the Best Brand Win, powered by Intertalk Radio, the leader in music biz talk. With me in the booth is Florentino Buenaventura from The Changing Stage. How's it going, man?
I'm here, as always, sir.
Excellent. All right. So we've been talking about branding today. Definitely one of the most misunderstood terms out there in marketing. And in segment 1, we talked about kind of branding. Where did it come from? Why did so many people get it wrong? Why do so many people not do it right? In segment 2, we talked about some of the brand hits out there that we see. And then 3, we talked about some of the misses as well. And here in segment 4, I want to talk about some tips. But I really think it's important. One of the concepts that you kind of have to, that marketers have to make a jump from making it all about themselves to really making it about the audience. And one illustration I use is from the movie Harry Potter. And in the movie, Voldemort, the evil villain, the evil wizard, basically he's pretty much unkillable because he attaches part of his soul to 7 different magical objects that are hidden around the kingdom, right? And that's a good analogy for branding, because we really attach a part of ourselves with every single thing that we do. You see it with musicians all the time. Oh, I'm a Fender guy. I'm an Ernie Ball guy. I'm a Taylor guy. I'm a Daisy Rock girl. I'm a Taylor girl. You see this all the time, right? And they sort of self-identify into the classes, right? You self-identify with the brands, and then when you kind of add all those things up together, it sort of equals you. From a marketing perspective, you really need to know that. You really need to know that your brand experience, the thing that you're really trying to focus on, again, emotional experience, is going to take place inside your customer or prospect's heart and mind. And really, they are going to own your brand. Really, what they're going to do is they're going to fill in the blanks of statements that they really want to be true about themselves to kind of make their little story, or kind of make their little story complete. And to do that, what you want to do is make part of your story help make their story complete. So really, a phrase I use for that, is you want to help the customer be right. You want to help the audience be right. In the movie The Three Kings with George Clooney and Mark Wahlberg, one of the lines in there, basically, he says, man's most important desire is not to be loved, but to be right. And what he means by be right is important. It's not like, you want to win an argument with your spouse, which, spoiler alert, you are not ever going to do that. That's not ever going to happen. So when we're talking about being right, it's not being factually correct. Right means incongruency with what you believe about yourself. When you look at human behavior, what you see is a lot of people just act out what they kind of, that mental picture of themselves, and they sort of just act it out on the stage of real life. Once you know that as a marketer, like I said, we're going to talk about a lot of psychology here. You can really tie your story into that story, and you can make it. You can help them kind of make their story true about themselves. So most brands, they settle for the surface level. They are factual and descriptive. They are accurate, but they're not very compelling. And they're safe. Also, they do not consider the customer or prospect. They sometimes, because they come from like a this is us type of perspective. I always urge my clients, and I urge everyone out there in Radio Land, to make it about them. They are very, very important to you, and they don't care about you. They only care about themselves. If there's one thing that I could put out there in the world to help marketers understand, it's really that you should consider the fact that people aren't, you don't complete their lives. They're not sitting around waiting for another marketing message from your company. And you need to understand that. You need to understand that they are about themselves 100% without exception. And so you have to come to them. You have to, really understand that they're in control. And then you have to, help them, complete those pictures. And that's really the difference between good brands and great brands right there. There are plenty of good brands out there. There are plenty of, like I said, factual, descriptive, accurate brands out there. But the great ones, the ones that we're talking about, like Apple, like Taylor Guitars, like people that the way that you step from good to great in branding is you really start to understand, who you're talking to and what you mean to them. And really what part of their, emotional picture do you complete? Just to kind of go back to, we just had a discussion about the 7 emotions. For example, a lot of luxury brands are built around self-love or ego. They're built around the idea of, folks, I'm at a certain station in life. And so I, can afford, this car, this vacation, this house, this area, that kind of thing. And that ego thing is really, really important, especially to luxury brands. And also it's important because they need people that when you're trying to evoke that emotion, you understand that they're really trying to make that true about themselves. And whatever you're trying to do needs to kind of fit a piece in that puzzle. Trust is sort of the same way. A lot of brands are built around the emotion of trust. And, really what you're saying there is that, you're going to be a trustworthy brand to people. And what they're saying is, I am the kind of person that trusts this kind of company, or I trust this type of company, or I trust this. So again, it always kind of comes back to what they, believe about themselves. So, just a few more tips that I certainly want to give out. As I mentioned before, a lot of people, they get confused about branding and they think that it's very visual. They think, like a cattle brand, like branding a cow with a certain symbol, and that's the brand. It isn't completely incorrect, but it's really not the definition that we're talking about from a marketing perspective. And you don't want to limit yourself to just a visual. Visuals are extremely important. It's a very visual world out there. And so the logo is definitely important, but it is not the brand. And when you don't want to use that language interchangeably to say, okay, this is our brand. Usually, our minds sort of pigeonhole information. So yeah, when you see the Disney logo, it brings up, your file, if it would, on Disney, right? And whether, and Disney's very, very good at, evoking emotion through their brand. They're very good about, saying that, if you take your kids to Disneyland or Disney World, you're a good parent. And not surprisingly, if you look very closely at their commercials, you see happy kids, happy parents, happy families enjoying Disneyland. And the message there is not unlike the take me fishing thing that we talked about, right? Is the fact that, they're kind of playing on the, if you don't do this, if you don't take your kids to Disneyland, then perhaps you aren't doing everything that you should. And really just the slight suggestion of that, or really the, is enough to kind of drive us parents, it makes us want to sit in a park with 100,000 other people when it's 90 degrees outside, to be honest. So, understand that branding is extremely, extremely powerful. And when it's done right, it's really just sort of, amplifying a lot of the emotions that we already really have. Kind of parental guilt, by the way, is a really popular button to push. And, as a parent, we allow that button to be pushed because we all kind of carry around the guilt. No matter how great a parent you are, you always sort of have a little bit of a fear that maybe you're not doing enough. And again, that's, just going back to the Take Me Fishing ad that we talked about earlier. That's really why that works. It wouldn't work at all if you didn't already have the feeling. So, want to talk about, again, we're talking about tips here in this segment. And I want to encourage everybody to dig deeper. Again, your brand experience takes place inside the customer prospect's heart and mind. Most brands really settle for that surface level. And that's why they're not very good. Again, this isn't the safest approach, by the way. When you have conversations with companies and with people about doing an emotional approach, it's very uncomfortable. As a society, it's hard for us to kind of face, a lot of this stuff. And as consumers, we don't want to admit that we are driven by our emotions. I've had people fight with me on marketing panels saying that they're completely logical and they're not driven by emotion. Ironically enough, the fighting is, showing anger, defensiveness, and is completely driven by emotion, right? Human beings it really kind of starts with an understanding that human beings aren't really capable of being, 100% logical at any time. We are very emotional creatures. And again, knowing that, half the battle when it comes to really designing your marketing and digging deep. But it's not going to be comfortable. It's not going to be safe. It's not going to be any of those kind of things. And I think that's why you only see a very few companies that really get this and really do a fantastic job, at this. But the ones who do, are some of the most successful companies that you can name. And they have this fierce loyalty, this fierce brand loyalty that just can't be shattered. So, those are some tips from me to you about branding, and I'm glad we got a chance to talk a little bit about branding today. It's been a great show. Really have enjoyed my time. Again, you're listening to May the Best Brand Win with Scott Robertson on Intertalk Radio, the leader in music biz talk. We'll see you next week.